are, I think, week 6 of the VIP challenge. At this point, you should be making a lot of changes. You should be noticing a good amount of changes going on through your sleep level, through your energy, hopefully on the Hume scale as well. So keep me updated with that. Let me know if you'll have any questions as we want to continue to do the Hume scale throughout this entire journey and see our progress, see us going in the right direction. We might have times where we get a little bit bad readings where our body fat might go up or our muscle mass might go down. Just remember, it's not 100% accurate, one, but two, our body's going to fluctuate day to day, week to week, and throughout the day. So those things are important to keep in mind as we're practicing these things. But we're on this journey. We're not going towards a straight single destination. We're looking for a healthier, stronger life. This week is about how to cheat. With your diet, we need to be intentional with eating real whole foods the majority of the time, but understanding that we are going to one, slip up, or two, make choices to eat foods that don't always directly serve us. Um, we are going to do it. We need to know how to strategically do it so that it does not make a drastic impact. First, I want to, even though we titled it what we titled it, I want to first shift the focus away from cheating or eating whatever you want to discretionary eating or a feasting period. There is a time to fast and there is a time to feast. Know when those times are. Be intentional with when we are going to fast. If it's a intermittent 12-hour fast, if it's a full day of 24-hour fast, versus when are we going to splurge a little bit more? When are we going to eat without strict rules around our meal? When are we going to feast? There's a few things to keep in mind when we do this. One, I'm going to talk about what we talked about last week with the glycemic index. The glycemic index is a measurement to the foods that you eat or the meal that you eat, and how this food is affecting your body on a hormonal level. So if we're eating I think we all need to know that all carbohydrates to your body technically are the same as far as sugar. If you have cake, if you have ice cream, if you have sweet tea, if you have blueberries, bananas, strawberries, bread, it does not matter according to the glycemic index alone. It's sugar. Your body breaks it down as sugar. It will put glucose, which is the broken down version of sugar, through your bloodstream. That uh, spike in blood sugar will release insulin, and that helps you put these sugars to work throughout our body. If we do it too often, abundance of sugar, we can become insulin resistance, which is why fasting is another one of these good things that can help with that. Managing your carbohydrates intake, whether they're good carbs or bad carbs. In this light, what I'm talking about right now, it doesn't matter if they're good carbs or bad carbs. They can all spike your blood sugar levels. When your blood sugar levels are super high, if they get high and then they drop, you store all this belly fat specifically. However, if you get carbohydrates, which we know are a good thing, they can just be overly done. When we consume carbohydrates with fats, fiber, or protein, those are our three main nutrients we want to consume carbs with: fats, fiber, or protein. It will raise your insulin levels or your blood sugar levels like it's supposed to, but then it slowly comes down as you're using this glucose for energy. So carbohydrates are known for energy. We know that they're broken down in sugar, they're put through your bloodstream, and your body needs to use those for energy. If we have them by themselves, it spikes and it drops. High glycemic index, it spikes and it drops. That stores belly fat. Low glycemic index, it will slowly rise, it will slowly fall. Your body gets to use all of these sugar, this glucose for energy. So another little helpful tip. These are the two tips before we go over the steps. Be mindful of consuming carbs with fats, fibers, and protein. Also, the next best thing you can do is walk after your meal. If you are able to go on a 10, 20, 30-minute walk after a meal, it will help aid in digestion. As you are moving, you have blood flow going, you're putting those nutrients to physical work right away as you're digesting, but then you're also putting them to work through your metabolic system, through your energy expenditure as you are moving. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up, nod. We'll
Mhm.
ask questions if it doesn't. Um, Eat. more amounts when you eat higher amounts of carbohydrates, we're going to say sugar, consume it with carbs, fats, or protein, and then go on a walk afterwards, and it will minimize the damage that it does. Okay, next step. This is the bigger thing that I wanted to talk about this week when it comes to cheating, knowing when to fast, knowing when to feast. One, I think we need to be very intentional with what we're doing at least 6 days of the week. We cannot have this cheat meal or this feast, this discretionary eating every single day of the week and think our body is going to function efficiently. That's not the way it goes. We're looking at a weekly basis. Some people say a cheat meal, some people say a cheat day. What I've really read a lot with the research of the most efficient is to have one cheat hour per week. If we can have, that takes a lot of discipline. Trust me, I really tried. That was a New Year's resolution that I had that I've really struggled with. And I'm still trying to pick back up and fine tune. Even though I failed at it, I'm picking it up and really working on it. To be efficient, we need to master the whole foods diet first. Create consistency with calories and quality of food. This creates value in your feasting. So if you are sticking to what we're talking about throughout the majority of the week, again, basically 6.5 days, eating real whole foods as the majority of your foods. People talk, I'm not going this route, but people talk about calorie deficits and all this good stuff. It's if we are consuming a consistent amount of calories, our body knows what to do when it gets that consistency with the amount of calories that are coming in. When you're eating real whole foods, you tend to be a little bit more consistent. I've noticed with eating whole foods, I get filled up at about the same amount. When it's processed food, a little bit can bloat me, or I can eat a lot of something and still feel hungry. So when it's processed, my body almost doesn't know how to react to it. I'll get overly stuffed off a small portion of something, or I'll eat a large portion and still be hungry. When it's real foods, you pretty much tend to get full off the same amount of foods. But the quality that you're feeding your body makes a huge difference in how your body's reacting and what it's expecting to continue to get. So, step two, when you are feasting, reserve 1 hour a week to eat until your heart's content. Not eat whatever you want. I'm not suggesting that because it's not beneficial. I don't know what it is that you want, that your cheat might be. That if I could say eat whatever you want, I don't know what you're going to go to. What I used to go to 5 years ago is very different from what I would love to go to now. 5 years ago, I would want some just ultra sweet, ultra processed food from like fast food or something like that that would satisfy that craving. Now I want something homemade. I want something that's fresh and flavor. I hate that they're closed now, but Raven and Lily's had some of the best desserts. When we would really be craving something sweet, we would go there because we knew it was homemade at the restaurant. So this doesn't mean eat anything that you want, but we're eating as much as you want, and we get a lot more discretionary with where calories are coming from. If you want to pig out with a lot more of the sweet foods, this is the time to do it. But we are creating standards of what we put into our bodies. Ultra processed foods should still be avoided at all costs. But if you want sweets, pizza, burger, alcohol, sodas, ice cream, cookies, anything like these, look for high quality versions of these things. If you look at Instagram and Facebook, sometimes you'll have all these different recipes, and some of them just suck. You can try some of them. It's homemade cookies, and you try it with no sugar, and then you get it and you eat it, and it's terrible. There are plenty of good ones out there. Talk with our coaches. Our coaches have found them, I promise. Elena, Caroline, and Olivia, the three of them together, they used to bring different sweet treats throughout the week to let each other try that they were healthy, they were clean ingredients. This is what I'm encouraging with you guys. Make them at home or find good homemade versions. Nice restaurants, the farmers market, cat sourdough. There are options out there when you decide to have those discretionary meals, that feasting time when you're wanting more sweets and not to stick to that perfect diet. The framework behind it, if you are getting consistent with your calories, consistent with the quality of foods, and then you go and enjoy a higher calorie dense meal, it actually helps you balance your hormones. What it's doing is telling your body you're not always getting the same amount. We can do more when we get more. We can do with less when we get less. And so it creates what's called metabolic flexibility. This is something we learned about in school where they taught us the exercise portion of metabolic flexibility. If you're only doing HIIT all the time, your metabolic system is only used to producing short bouts of energy. If we're only trained for running, our metabolic system is set up to only produce longer duration form of energy. And so it's set up to reserve everything. And so if your body is only used to sprints or only used to longevity, it's not efficient with balancing your energy. The same thing goes with food. If you know somebody who lost a ton of weight from eating in a calorie deficit for months on months on months, as soon as they get out of the calorie deficit, their weight goes back up. I don't want that to happen with you during this challenge. So, my point is, it is okay to have those feasting. In fact, it can be beneficial to have those periods of feasting when you are in that calorie deficit. You're in a lower amount of calories you're consuming, especially when you're eating real whole foods, when you're very intentional with your diet. The majority of that time, that feast creates that metabolic flexibility. Your metabolism knows how to react when it's getting a little bit more. It knows how to react when you're getting a little bit less. And it creates much less damage when you have those splurge meals. When you go out with your friends and enjoy a night out and they want to have a couple extra glasses of wine, those things are okay in moderation. Find a period of time, make sure we're not overdoing it. Most importantly, make sure you are really doing good throughout the entire week so that we are training your body to burn more calories than it's consuming. I know I've been talking against that. There's still truth behind it. We're still trying to have your body burn more calories than it's consuming. But at the same time, we want it to know how to react when you do get abundance of calories on a somewhat regular basis. All this said, I just want to make clear, walk afterwards. If you can, go on a walk afterwards. Get some movement, some blood flow going through your body. Again, this aids in digestion. It lowers your insulin spike, and then walking puts those carbohydrates to work in your bloodstream. Questions on those?
How do you, I don't understand how you, I understand what you're talking about, the way you train your body, because I've seen that happen with myself, but how do you train your body to burn more calories than what you're consuming?
Good question. Good question. Um, when, how do I say it? One, we just want to, most doctors go the simplest route of eat less, move more. And so that's
Right.
kind of one perspective of it. And that's not an incorrect perspective. I think it's an incomplete perspective. So as you are eating on a consistent basis, you're basically telling your body, I'm consuming about 2,000 calories a day. That's what we're
Uh-huh.
consuming. I want you to put these to work. If you eat too little calories, your metabolism begins to slowly shut down. So if you're
Right.
eating too little, you're training your metabolism to shut down. So we're finding a homeostasis, an even amount so it knows what to do with it. If you're eating 2,000 calories consistently on a consistent basis, your body's like, okay, this is what I'm getting. This is what I'm putting out. You need a lot of work from me in the gym, physical activity at home, mental bandwidth at work. Your body needs to burn this amount of calories. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
when you consume too few or on the lower side, your body is using somewhat on the lower side. If it's consuming more, it realizes that it can start burning more. But if we're consuming more too consistently, it's like, I don't know what to do with all this. I'm just going to put it away for a rainy day. Did I explain that well?
Hmm.
Okay. If not, tell me. Perfect. The main thing I want you guys to get out of this is we want to be hard on ourselves. We do. I always say sometimes if we're not hard on ourselves, who's going to be? So many times, especially people like you guys, y'all have so many people looking up to you, kids, spouses, co-workers. Excuse me. There's a lot of people looking up to you who thinks you are doing awesome. And I very, very much think that you are doing awesome. And I want you to believe that. At the same time, we need to understand somebody has to be hard on ourselves. So it's us. Don't be too hard on yourselves. That's very important not to be too hard on yourselves. When it almost seems like nobody else is doing it, we need to show that tough love. But with that tough love, we want to enjoy life. What's the point of feeling our best, looking our best, if we're miserable and can't enjoy anything that we want to enjoy? Um, it all needs to be in moderation. We need to have self-control. We need to have discipline. We need to be able to enjoy life in a wise way. I wasn't gonna say it, but my cheat used to be brookies from Domino's. I don't know why. We just used to get those all the time. We used to love those. I used to work out really hard, and I would say, "Hey, it's worth it to have a brookie." Now, last time I had one, they're really disgusting. They're just ultra processed. It doesn't actually have much flavor in it other than just sugar and like goop.
What
Um,
is it?
a
What
brookie from Domino's,
rookie?
a brookie, a
Is it
brownie
a
and a
brownie and
cookie
a
together.
cookie?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. All right, I'm gonna
Um,
order that tonight for my meal.
Let
I'm
me tell
joking.
you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Um, where do we like to go now? We like Cat Sourdough. That's one of our favorite places to go to for sweets. It's all fresh and real ingredients. It's I would go and consider it healthy. It's very high in carbohydrates and sugar. It's over there at the edge of Carville and Germantown, near Fresh Market and all that. We'll
Hey,
do home.
Austin,
We'll
a
do it.
quick question. Well, a quick question before we end the call. Can you touch on the difference between eating sourdough versus like wheat bread
Mhm.
at some
Yes.
point? Okay, all right,
The basics of it is that sourdough is fermented, and so sourdough itself has some really good ingredients for your bacteria, I'll say, for your gut health and your gut microbiome. Anything that's fermented, we'll say in the right way, which I couldn't really tell you the specifics of that. I was just saying as natural as possible. Um, Kimchi, sauerkraut, a lot of those type of things. Anything fermented tends to be very good for your gut health. Sourdough is fermented bread. Also, with sourdough, it tends to have far fewer ingredients than anything else.
got it. Okay.
So that's the simplest answer with that. Yeah,
I was surprised when, because like I love sourdough, so I bought some this week and or last week, and it has protein in it. I was surprised.
me too. Yeah, yeah. I used to, as a kid, I would try to count up as much protein as I could get. I didn't care about where it was coming from. I didn't care about how much of anything else I would get. I thought peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were like the protein spot because I could load up some peanut butter. I could get some of those higher grams of protein in the bread. I thought I was doing so good, but my belly did not think I was doing so good. Yeah. Last thing I'll say with today's meeting is find good sources for your everyday meals. Looking at all of y'all's meals throughout the week, they are good. You are on the right track. We're headed towards the right direction. If I can encourage everybody, one big thing, eat more meat. Beef, chicken, fish, all of these things. A lot of us are getting the majority of our protein from protein shakes and yogurts and dairy products, which aren't terrible, and plant sources. The more you can get actual animal sources, the more your body can do with the protein. I don't think this is anything on the lessons that we have planned in the future, so we'll just talk about it today as we kind of covered our everything I had for today. Protein is made up of amino acids. I'm sure you guys have heard of those. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Animal products, I believe all animal products have all nine of your essential amino acids. If your body consumes protein without amino acids, it cannot put it to work efficiently through your body. When it does have all those amino acids, it's putting it to work most efficiently. There are supplements that you could take for amino acids. All of our fit aids have additional amino acids like BCAAs are put in there. uh, I forget all the technical names, QCO10 or something like that. There's all these super technical names for the amino acids. And my understanding, if I'm wrong, somebody can tell me, all of the peptides that are being talked about that are very popularized lately, they are amino acids. They're just taken as a supplement form at a very specific dose recommended by a doctor. But if you ever hear anybody on peptides, that's a very popular thing nowadays. I'm not for it or against it, but they are amino acids. That's where they're coming from. So animal products, beef especially, is full of these amino acids. Yes, you have your nine essential, but you have way more than that, like 30 something different amino acids, maybe more. Um, some of the plant products aren't going to be enough. Collagen does not have all of your amino acids. That doesn't mean it's bad. That doesn't mean it should be avoided. I just want to make sure we're getting our eggs, our fish, our beef, our poultry. And that's what I have for y'all today. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Well, the one thing, and I have high cholesterol, which is hereditary. So just started taking medication for it. So I've been eating a lot more meat, but I'm concerned about what that's going to do to my cholesterol.
That's a very good point, and I'm going to say a sensitive subject because I have very, very strong beliefs over cholesterol and what the research has to say about it. The medical community has a different belief than what I have. So take what I have with a grain of salt. Consult with your doctor, not with me about this. However, cholesterol, there has been a lot of research to disprove the cholesterol theory that high cholesterol leads to heart disease. Um, it is, how can I say it? The research that suggests that is biased research. They did it in a way to prove their point, and they have one real study that the medical community still uses. I think it's from the 80s. There was a book called The Great Cholesterol Myth, but I've read about it in many of other books. What they've realized over the last, we'll just say 10 years to get specific with the research about it, cholesterol, high cholesterol causes heart disease when that cholesterol is damaged. That damaged cholesterol tends to come from damaged oils, such as seed oils cooked at high temperature. So a lot of omegas, when you hear about seed oils being bad, seed oils directly affect the negative side of cholesterol. You don't have good cholesterol, you don't have bad cholesterol. Your body produces cholesterol because your body needs it. When you're eating high omega 6, aka seed oils, aka going out to eat all the time, you begin to oxidize your cholesterol and you begin to damage that cholesterol. And that's when it becomes damaging to you. Cholesterol as a whole is very good for your body and very good for your brain. So that's a kind of sensitive subject with that because, again, it is against what the medical community has to say. I've read a lot in the Great Cholesterol Myth. They talk about it. The Biblio Diet is my favorite book. We're going to talk about this later, just in another lesson. If y'all want to read a book about nutrition as a whole to understand it, the Biblio Diet is by Dr. Josh Axe from Ancient Nutrition. He pulls in everything the Bible has to say about food, and he talks about it on the scientific level about what the research has to say about it. He makes very clear that cholesterol itself is not a direct correlation to heart disease. They talk about it in Fast Like a Girl. They talk about it in Real Foods for Pregnancy. I read that when Liv was pregnant. So it's Casey Means talks about her book, Good Energy. So I'm not making this claim. I'm getting it from a lot of other experts who've read the research about it. I personally would not concern yourself with cholesterol if you're not getting a bunch of seed oils or omega 6.
No, okay.
So seed oils are going to be vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower seed oil, grapeseed oil, those type of things. The good omega-3 type of oils, grass-fed butter, olive oil, ghee, tallow, avocado oil are going to be in that healthy oils.
Okay. Yeah, that's usually what I use.
Perfect. Going out to eat, they almost always use vegetable oil or canola oil, the cheapest of the cheap.
If you read
Okay.
the Casey Means, it really explains it really, really well in the Good Energy book.
Mhm.
When I
Okay.
got to that section, it made a lot more sense to me than any other way I'd read it before.
I'm over here talking
Okay.
about all this stuff, and I'm like watching Christy screen in the medical community. I'm like, she's gonna rebuke me. She's gonna tell me I'm wrong. Different viewpoint, different viewpoints on the matter, and looking at different research and what they had to say about it. Because just because research says something doesn't mean it's outright true. We have to understand all the
Right.
factors about it. Chris,
Right.
Christy, you're still on mute. I know you're trying to say something. Ask to unmute.
No, actually, my husband's listening to you and he's like, I agree with Austin totally. Because it's funny you mentioned it because my mom, who's a retired nurse, she was actually saying something about the cholesterol. And she said, you notice they say you need fat for your brain and everybody's on cholesterol medicine. And there's so much Alzheimer's now and dementia. And when you said that, I'm like, that's what she was talking about. She's like, I don't know about all this.
Yes.
I don't agree with a lot of the medical community. Trust me.
I know,
Like
but
the
I have to.
Ozempic, don't get me started on medical community because I don't believe a lot of it.
No, I think it's there to help people. It really is.
But it's
But
being
then they
abused.
and then it's been abused.
Yes.
As a trainer, I have to kind of give those disclaimers. I'm not here to give medical advice. I'm here to
Right.
give health and fitness advice. I'm told you where I got my sources, so I'm not concerned at all with cholesterol. I'm concerned with poor eating habits that lead towards heart disease. Cholesterol is a fact. There's so many factors in the body. Cholesterol are molecules floating through the body that gets used and abused. That doesn't mean that they're the problem causer.
No.
So
I learned a
they
lot from you, Austin. You know a lot.
well,
I like
thank you.
listening
I,
to you.
I read a lot.
You really do.
Um, just remember from this meeting, it is okay to feast. It is okay to have discretionary meals. Just straight up cheating, just eating junk food because I said it's okay for an hour a week is not going to be super efficient to your body. What I want when I think about food, food is meant to be enjoyed. That needs to be clear. I love food, all sorts of food. I love healthy foods more because I've trained myself for that, but they also have the most abundance of flavor and enjoyment. So learn to enjoy it. It's not a exercise is not a punishment for what you ate. We're not starving yourself because you ate a little poorly. Look for foods that serve you more on a health basis. One of our favorite ice cream, I think it's something with bear, like bear ice cream or something we get from Sprouts. The ingredients are honey, it's cream, and a couple other things for flavoring. It's not full of all these extra additives. Look for those type of foods and try to get, again, for all of us, looking at all y'all's meals, try to get more animal products, more real grass-fed, pasture-raised chicken and beef. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll stay around if y'all have any more questions, but I'll see y'all for 8:15 class, or I'll see y'all Monday.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Austin, I've got a couple of questions. Like, I really am interested in that Biblio diet because, like, I've always read, like, with biblical diets, it's like God didn't make us to eat animals because at first, there was just vegetables until, the sin, and then he said it was okay to eat animals, and the way our teeth are constructed and everything, we're made more, we're not carnivores, we're supposed to be herbivores. And so I've been eating mainly uh like a plant diet for the past couple of years with some fish and chicken. And so I guess that's, I'm interested in reading that book and see what that perspective is. And then with the cholesterol, my mom died of a heart attack at 67, and so that's one of the reasons my doctors are concerned. But she had a very different lifestyle than me. I mean, and like with the food that I'm eating, like I haven't seen a lot of change because I eat a pretty healthy diet to start with. But I'm just wondering what you thought about all that.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, first, just kind of a extra, just back up for my point. There, how do I say it? Heart disease is so scary, and when you know that it runs in your family, you want to do everything you possibly can, and that's so reasonable on so many levels. And you just want to kind of check all the boxes. So, like for investing, for example, we always hear that investing in your retirement is great. I'm with a financial advisor right now. He doesn't think that me investing in an IRA right now is most efficient for me as a business owner in my tax bracket now compared to what it could potentially be later. So, even though that's a good thing that everybody says invest in your retirement, he wants to go a different route. The same kind of concept with this but your instinct is to just follow the routine, follow the structure, follow what everybody says because we believe in it. I think it's the same kind of thing with cholesterol. Like we've heard about it for so long, we've been so mindful of it, but what happens when you're eating real whole foods? I'll talk about the Bible thing in a second. When you're eating real whole foods and don't really see a change, do we need to continue to be fearful of the fact that my cholesterol is high, but the blockage and the plaque buildup is not there? So is there really a correlation with the cholesterol molecules going through your bloodstream versus the blockage around your arteries? And there's not a correlation there. I feel like that speaks a lot of volume. But yeah, going back to what a lot of the great cholesterol myth, it talks about why the medical community makes that claim and sticks with it. And when you understand that research, you can doubt it a whole lot more of why they've believed in cholesterol in the first place. But to go back more to the Bible side of things is a few things. One, God knew that Adam and Eve were going to sin when he put them in the garden. So he gave them plants, fruits specifically. I don't even think he brings up vegetables. He talks about fruits and he talks about herbs. For them to eat. And death didn't come into the world until sin came into the world. And so you're right there. There was a death of an animal after the first sin, which simulates later the sacrifices being made throughout the book of Leviticus and all these different sacrifices. But more importantly, God knew that we were going to sin. He knew that we were going to be eating meat all throughout Old Testament, they give, and I like Old Testament, and I'll tell you the difference between that and New Testament. New Testament says that all foods are clean. You are not ceremonially unclean because you've eaten an unclean food. There are no unclean foods anymore. It's what comes out of a person's mouth that defiles them. That's where Jesus' teaching is. And he's correct, but that doesn't mean pork or shellfish or the things he said not to eat in Leviticus, that doesn't mean they're good. It means they're not sinful. But there's a whole long list of things that we are to eat and that we aren't to eat according to the Mosaic law. And so when you're talking about foods that we're allowed to eat, he gets very specific with the animals that chew the cud, host feet that chew the
Right.
cud. And so he gives very specific, intentional instructions with food. And then what this book talks about is the wisest king there ever lived was King Solomon. King Solomon had wisdom beyond any other king, and he had very specific food that he wanted his people to eat. It was goats, or maybe not goats, it was sheep, it was lamb, it was cows, specifically pasture-raised cattle. And it talked about and the grains that they were going to eat. It gave them recipe for the bread that they were going to make. So it gave the wisest king had provision for his entire people of Jerusalem. Maybe it was entire Israel. I can't remember, but at least Jerusalem and the people that were around him. It was very specific food dedicated directly towards them. And it was all majority animal products. God tells us to eat, to rule over the earth, to subdue it, that we are to rule over the animals. So all throughout Old and New Testament, we are eating meat. The only time anybody really ever just ate meat, or excuse me, plants, Adam and Eve in the garden before they sinned. Well, we've sinned, we're past that. And then Daniel, when Daniel was in front of the king, they wanted him to eat the king's food, which had been sacrificed to the Babylonian gods. And so Daniel's like, I'll do this, I'll do this, I will not eat that food sacrificed to the gods. Please, can I eat something else? He asked. The guy said, why should I let you not get strong and the king see that you're not getting strong? The king's going to be on my head. He said, let me eat just vegetables, basically foods that have not been sacrificed for, I think it was 10 days, 7 days, something like that. He was 10 times healthier than everybody else. Him, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
Right.
the four of them were all healthier than everybody else. Most biblical scholars believe that that is the exception. That's not the rule. This is one of the only times in scripture where somebody picks up a vegetarian diet by choice and ends up healthier. But it was under certain circumstances where God was present with him and making him stronger. God gave him the strength it said and gave him wisdom so that he was 10 times better and stronger and wiser than everybody else. So the two times where people ate just plants, there were very specific circumstances around it. But again, if I did not explain that well enough and I rambled too much, it is a great book. I listened to it. I bought the physical copy because I loved it so much. But they do a lot of pulling in from scripture, talking about the specifics of what to eat and why to eat it, from the Mosaic Law to Solomon to anytime food's mentioned throughout the New Testament.
Okay.
Anything else?
No?
I will see you guys later.
Okay. Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning, morning.
How has everybody's sleep been this past week? Jared.
I don't know what switched, but I've been going to bed at like normal, healthy adult times this week for the first time in a very long time.
Yes. Why?
I I don't know. My bedtime's usually between 11 and 12, and completely unprompted this week, my body's been putting me to bed between 10 and 11.
Awesome. I love it. You feel like you're sleeping well through the night?
Actually, yeah, which is usually the trouble for me. So maybe I've been pretty darn good with my food this week, and I'm wondering if getting that on track has helped things.
Absolutely. I never know to blame one thing or another of what's helping, but I think it's always a buildup of things. That's awesome. I love to hear that.
And the physiotherapy is really working and helping, and for the first time in a few months now, I'm not waking up with pain in my leg in the middle of the night, which is also really quite nice.
Wow. Look at all these miracles happening all together. We start getting our life together and start
Yeah,
eating better.
turns out if I actually take care of myself, I don't feel like crap.
Good. I love to hear that. Christy, let's talk about you for a second. How's your sleep going?
It's going good. I can't complain. I got to bed about 8:30 and I sleep till about what, 6? So I
Good.
did pretty good.
Love to hear it. Any other updates on anything? Just trying to keep up with everything the best you can.
I'm just trying to do what you say, Austin. I'm
You're
just
doing wonderful.
impatient. That Hume scale I don't like, but I'm being patient.
I don't like it much either. It's not always going the direction that I like to see. I'll just have like a slow uptick, and I'm like,
Yep.
dang it, that's not where I want to go. And then it'll go down, and it'll slowly go up, and then it'll go down. I'm like, okay, whatever, as long as it's
Yeah.
trending down.
I'm doing good. I want instant results. You know
Of
me.
course. Don't we all? Don't we all? Chris, how's your sleep been lately?
Sorry, I had to get you guys off mute or get myself off mute. It's been good. I last couple of nights I've gone to bed like I don't know, I was asleep probably by 9. So and this morning I was woke up at 4 a.m. initially, but I was like that's a little too early, so I fell back asleep and didn't wake up till about 5. So but yeah, I'm getting to bed early and having more. It feels like consistent sleep throughout the night, not waking up as much.
Good, good. What do you think really changed with staying asleep through the night?
You know, to be honest with you, I think I can tell a difference when I work out in the morning versus when I skip a day.
Uh-huh.
To be honest with you, that's when I feel like I don't go to sleep as easier, and I don't know why that is. And part of it could be the fact that I'm actually eating more protein and not throughout the day, so maybe I'm not waking up, like hungry, or tossing and turning at that point. I mean, that's my theory. I don't know if that's accurate, scientific or not, but yeah.
Cool. I love that. I definitely feel like the harder I work out, I go to bed easy. I fall asleep easy, and sometimes I feel like I'm exhausted from the day, and that might have a factor to do with it. But sometimes what we're really trying to do, especially with last week's lesson, and as we continue trying to keep quality sleep, is consistency in habits and playing with hormones. Your hormones are going to fluctuate day to day, week to week. but the more consistent we can get them, the better our sleep is going to be, which is again one of the reasons why we put this sleep lesson in here a little bit over a month into the challenge so that we are trying to balance everything. We don't expect sleep is not a discipline. Sleep is not something we can be trying to follow all the rules with and just have an easy time. It's everything working together. But to burn fat, to build muscle, to balance your hormones, to sleep better, to have more energy, they all work together within the same habits. Sometimes social media especially likes to focus on, well, just eat less carbs and you'll burn more fat. Just eat more protein and you'll build more muscle. There's so much more to it than just this or just that for this category or the other. They all work together. We'll just do one more. Jenna, how is your sleeping going?
Fine, as long as people don't want to start puking in bed with me.
Yeah,
But
that's gross. I hate it when people puke
four-legged
in bed.
people, four-legged, and not, I get that doesn't make them a people. Can't help it.
I knew what it was, but I was gonna make a joke about your husband being an alcoholic, which I don't believe he is, but it's a dog,
Also
y'all.
never
Dogs
here,
don't know.
Austin.
You what?
He would have to be here for him to be able to puke in bed.
He's
That's not
puking in
often.
China's bed.
Yeah, somewhere. Somewhere. No, it's okay. I mean, I normally, you know, my issue. My issue is if I get woken up, I have the hardest, it's like hours that I'm
Mhm.
awake in the middle of the night. So, we had a little puking in the middle of the night last night, and then I was awake for 2.5 hours. So
Great.
it's what it is.
That is something that with practice of meditation and balance of hormones can help you fall back asleep. This isn't, again, anybody's, let's just do more and we're going to sleep better. But as we continuously practice all of these habits, they should make life a little bit easier, including that aspect of falling back asleep. So it was kind of cool and odd, if I'm gonna be honest, hearing everybody's like, oh, I'm doing a little bit better. Like Jared's like, it just miraculously happened seemingly all of a sudden. And kind of to notice some changes. Okay, like I've been sleeping better, but I do a little bit better on the days that I work out. Good things to pay attention to. We'll try to check all those boxes, but again, they're not boxes necessarily to be checked. It's good habits and hormones being released to help balance all those things. Carol, we'll go with you lastly on this, unless anybody else wants to jump in. How has sleep been this past week?
Well, I've always been able to sleep really good. I fall asleep like in 5 minutes and I sleep great. But my struggle is getting in the bed because I have so much to do. I never want to go to bed. So I've been really working on getting to bed earlier. And I've been getting about 7 hours sleep instead of like 5 or 6. So that makes you feel much better. And I do wake up a couple of times a night to use the restroom, but I go right back to sleep. So I'm trying to not drink it. I struggle with not eating late, but the way my schedule is, it's hard. So I'm trying to, maybe I won't wake up as much to use the restroom, but luckily I go right back to sleep. But I know that that's a big interruption. And sometimes I still feel tired in the morning, but
Mm-hmm. All
I know
right.
slept, and I've started that sleep book. I listened to the summary first because I had it on my Audible already. So I started listening to it and just listen to all the things that your body needs sleep for. I'm thinking I'm gonna die young. And see, I've not never slept long. I've always like tried to get by on as little sleep as possible. So hopefully I can change that.
Yes, yes. And I think this is the encouragement to me is your muscles are only growing and recovering while you're asleep. And so that's always one of my big motivations for sleep. If I work out and push myself and challenge myself and have the best week of workouts, lifting heavier than before, just super consistent, I get no real changes if I don't sleep. So that's always one of the big motivating factors to me. Fat loss is sleep dependent, muscle growth is sleep dependent. So I love that. Cool. I love to hear that from everybody. Prioritizing it, understanding how important it is helps us to care about it more. Excuse me. I'm somebody I think kind of like Carol who I want to be productive. I want all of my hours to be of my life to be towards something efficient. I also have to recognize that sleep is very efficient. Rest while you're awake is still very efficient. Family time, walks, workouts, things outside of productivity of work are still very efficient to living a healthy, high quality life. And that's what we want to continue to do and enjoy our life. So we